Heat filled my mouth. Grit scratched my tongue. The ground pressed against my cheek. Oil, dust, burned rubber. And a knee pressed between my shoulders. Heavy, final. That's how it began for me. Not with a speech or a warning. Just a parking lot big enough to swallow me whole. The first words I managed to say were the simplest ones a person can say. I didn't steal anything. And the officer answered with the simplest words a person can use to stop listening. Save it. It was almost strange how quiet everything felt in that moment. I remember thinking about the hoodie in the bag, the clean receipt folded in half, the promise I'd made to my little brother that morning after our basketball game. We'd won by 2 points. The gym was hot and loud, the kind of place where sneakers squeak and the crowd's energy buzzes through your ribs. Every time the net snapped, it sounded like a drumbeat for something bigger than the game. I was still riding that high when I walked into Rivergate Commons. That mall always smelled like air conditioning and pretzels, full of laughter and bad pop music leaking out of clothing stores. I went there for one thing, a gray hoodie my brother Jackson had been saving for. It had this tiny stitched star near the pocket. Nothing fancy, just something you wanted bad enough to talk about for weeks. The woman at the register, Diane, smiled at me when she saw the folded bills in my hand. She had the kind of smile that told you she understood why this mattered. You're doing it right, she said. I told her, I'm lucky. The card approved. The bag was crisp. I snapped a picture and sent it to Jackson. He replied with 3 fire emojis and a skull, his way of saying thank you. The day felt good. Complete. I didn't know that across the hall, a security guard named Ravi was holding a radio with trembling hands. His manager had been on him for weeks about theft reports. Moments earlier, he'd seen a kid, same age, similar build, sprint out of a store with 3 stolen phones in his arms. Fear rewired his brain. And fear is fast like that. It edits truth before you even realize it's gone. Male, teen, gray hoodie, backpack. East exit, he said into his radio. And Officer Cole Whitaker, sitting bored in a cruiser nearby, boredom souring into anger, heard exactly what he wanted to hear. He slammed the gas. I didn't even see the car until the tires screamed. Hands up, he shouted. And before I could finish turning, a hand found my shoulder, the same one I'd injured back in 9th grade. Pain flared, sharp and sudden. My reflection flashed across the car window, wide-eyed, confused. The bag dropped. The receipt slipped out like a surrender flag. Cole stomped on it. You think that little piece of paper's gonna save you? He said, voice cold and automatic. I bought it, I said, breathing hard. The clerk, her name's Diane, she can tell you. He twisted my wrist until the cuffs bit skin. Stop resisting. Around us, a crowd started to form. 30, maybe 40 people. Phones came up like black mirrors, capturing everything. I heard a woman whisper into her phone, voice shaking but steady. This is happening right now, North Bridgegate Commons. That was Kenzie, a local reporter who happened to be live. Diane ran out of the store, waving the register slip. Officer, he's telling the truth. I just rang him up. Cole didn't look at her. Ma'am, step back before you make this worse. Worse for who? She snapped, her voice breaking. People in the crowd started murmuring, he's a kid. Check the receipt. He didn't do anything. And it hit me. People believe you faster when someone else says it first. My dad always taught me there are 2 kinds of vigilance, the one you use on the world and the one you use on your own fear. Officer, please, I said, my shoulders out. You can talk, you can breathe, he muttered. His partner, Officer Luis Ortega, shifted beside him, uneasy. Cole, maybe we should check the bag. Cole barked back. He fits the call. Luis said quietly, half this town fits that call. He said it too soft for Cole's story to care. Then my smartwatch buzzed. 3 short, 2 long. The SOS pattern my dad made me memorize when I was 13. It set my heart rate, my location, and a live audio feed. He'd set up the day he told me. You can be right and still end up dead if the wrong man's listening. My dad, Anthony Bennett, runs the Great Lakes Division of the Federal Investigation Service. Not the FBI, but close enough that people listen when those letters show up. That afternoon, he was 3 miles away, watching his screen flash red. My pulse at 171. My location pinned at the mall. He opened Kenzie's livestream. Saw the officer stomp the receipt. Heard me say, I didn't steal anything. He didn't shout. He just said 5 words that move cars. Bring the convoy to Rivergate. I was shoved into the back seat of the cruiser. The air smelled like tin and cleaning spray. Cole leaned back and said, You got caught. End of story. Outside, people shouted, Check the bag. He's a student. You're on live. The crowd's voices blurred with my heartbeat. I looked at the mirror, saw my face, and didn't recognize it. At the station, they locked me in a room the size of a closet. 1 glass wall, 1 concrete wall. The fluorescent light hummed like a mosquito that wouldn't die. My shoulder throbbed. My chest hitched when I tried to breathe deep. Cole paced. He wasn't fighting me anymore. He was fighting something older, something I couldn't see. When I looked at him, I almost saw the boy he used to be. 10 years old, watching his father die during a raid. Pain like that learns how to walk. It can wear a badge. It can call itself instinct. Sergeant Dana Clean came in, all steel and straight lines. Description? She asked. Cole handed her his phone with a dispatch note. She frowned. That's it? Who verified with the store? Silence. Bodycam, she said. Docket. He went to upload the footage, but the system blinked a warning. Auto sync cloud lock. Tamper alert. His jaw clenched. Louis spoke up, arms crossed at the door. Deleting evidence is a felony, Cole. You don't understand, Cole muttered. I understand too well, Louis said. He's a kid. He's a thief. Cole shot back, but stopped halfway, like even he heard the poison in the word. Then the sound came, that deep synchronized roll of black SUVs. Not sirens, not a chase. Authority arriving like a storm. FIS agents poured in. Alicia Monroe led them, badge in hand. Federal operation. Step away from interrogation 3. She didn't raise her voice, didn't need to, and behind her, my dad walked in, dark suit flawless, eyes anything but calm. He looked at me first. You're here. You're breathing. I didn't. I know. Then he turned to Cole. Officer Whitaker, you are under federal review for assault under colored authority and evidence tampering. Badge and weapon. Cole stared at the metal pin to his chest like it might defend him. You can't be serious. Alicia said, I've never been more serious. The sound of his badge hitting the table was sharper than I expected. Everyone stopped moving. Dana didn't flinch. Medical for the kid. They plugged in the body cam feed. The footage played, the shove, the stomp, my plea, a whisper on screen, but heavy enough to fill the room. When it ended, my father said quietly, You turned your pain into a flashlight that only points at one kind of face. Cole said nothing, just sat there, shoulders folding under the weight of what he'd done. Northbridge did what towns do when the lights are on them. They held a debrief, not because they wanted to, but because silence had run out of places to hide. Dana read facts like bricks being stacked. 17 prior profiling complaints. 35 witnesses. Register log. Receipt. Live footage. Smartwatch data. My father said, This is not vengeance. This is truth. If it feels heavy, that means you're finally holding it. Then Cole asked to speak. I watched my father die when I was 10. I told myself I was careful, but I was just scared. I let fear with a uniform. I hurt you because I couldn't tell the difference between danger and color. There's no excuse. I didn't nod. I didn't reach out. You broke more than my shoulder, I said. You broke the trust people like me have to fight for every day. Words won't fix that. Work might. The air shifted. People started taking notes. The kind of notes that become policies later. Within weeks, Rivergate adopted the Bennett Protocol, a policy stating no physical engagement until identity and details are confirmed by video or an independent source. Cameras began uploading automatically to a neutral cloud server every hour. A civilian review board formed. Louis chaired it. I did the right thing late, he said. That won't happen again. They retrained, suspended, restructured. But more importantly, they listened. 11 days later, a vigil lit up the parking lot outside the store. Diane lit the first candle. For truth, Ravi lit the second. For accountability, my father lit the third. For change, I lit the fourth. For forgiveness, not the kind that erases, the kind that frees. People ask about the lawsuit, the number, the settlement. But justice doesn't feel like money. It feels like therapy appointments, a youth center that finally stays open, and a scholarship called Future, not Freda Jackson School. And Cole, everyone wants his chapter. Maybe because we can't stop watching the fall and hoping for the rise. He spent months broken. The news moved on. His marriage didn't, but he stopped drinking. He started showing up to training rooms with a banner that read, Bias and Accountability, Lessons from Failure. I went once, not to forgive him, to understand what work looked like. He spotted me at the back, straightened, then softened. I wasn't sure you'd come. Me either. Thank you for not hating me. I did for a while, I said, but hate's a tool. I just stopped living with it. I can't undo it. No, I said, but you can make it mean something. We shook hands, not as friends, not as enemies, just two people holding the same heavy thing from different sides. The documentary Northbridge Reckoning came out months later. Millions watched. They saw the badge drop, the body cam footage, my face on the ground, and the words I said. You can't heal what you refuse to look at. But once you look, even the worst day can become a door instead of a wall. I still carry that day. In my shoulder that clicks when it rains, in my brother's hoodie, in my dad's quiet sigh when we eat noodles behind the station. Justice isn't a finish line. It's a practice. So tell me what you think justice looks like where you live. Tell me if you've ever stood in a parking lot and felt the air change. Tell me what you did with that feeling. Because you can't heal what you won't face. We faced it. Now it's your turn.